other stuff. Oh, Ray, Ayanami. And a lot of other stuff that I'm probably not remembering. And I also do on-camera stuff too. I'm a co-host for Games.tv. And I also am producing a web series. It's a musical comedy called The Troubadours. If you come by my autograph booth in the autograph line, I can give you like a card thing that has Troubadours on it and has information on the back. If you guys are familiar with my character, Sakura 422 1973, it's my fangirl character that I made for Chris Sabat. And she's one of the characters in the web series. So come by my autograph booth thingy, and you can totally get an awesome card. So, there's my life in a nutshell. Do you guys have any questions? You. A line in my holo voice, whatever could you mean? My tail, isn't it lovely? There you go. Yeah, you.
Would you please sing Full Moon on the Water from Beck, even if it's just a little?
Oh yeah, I'll totally sing Moon on the Water. Full moon sways gently in the night of one fine day. On my way, looking for a moment with my dear. What a fool, I don't know about tomorrow, what it's like to be. I was sure I couldn't let myself go, even though I feel the end. Other questions? You.
Can you repeat like the first line that you meet on the series?
Well, I just dropped F-bombs like left and right. I don't know that would be appropriate in this panel situation. I don't know if it's 18 and up. You in the back.
How did you get started doing VA work?
How did I get started doing VA work? Well, whenever I was in high school, I had taken a tour of Funimation because I was a really big Dragon Ball Z fan. And so I took a tour of Funimation, and ironically, Chris Sabat was a guy in the booth that we got to watch work or whatever, and I was like, that looks like fun. I feel like I could do that, and I really want to do that. So whenever I graduated high school, I ended up going to a community college, which is right around the corner from Funimation, and at that time, it was just so much easier to get an audition, and I literally just walked in and asked how to audition, and they put me on the list. The waiting list was like, I think 2 months then, and now it's like 2 years, unless you know someone or if you have an agent. So everybody just kind of has a different path, but really for me it was just taking the initiative to ask and then working really hard to try and get better, because when I first started I was not that great. I did really small parts and like background chatter kind of stuff for about 2 years before I got my first feature character, which was Nina Tucker in Full Metal Alchemist. So, yeah, she's pretty cute. But everybody's path is totally different, especially in this line of work because it's kind of weird.
Yep.
How do you get on the waiting list for your audition?
I don't know how you do it now. I'm sure there's got to be some kind of email address or some Funimation. I don't know if it's like maybe info at Funimation. You might want to ask them on the Funimation panel. They might know better. I don't really know though. You there?
Okay. You do the voice of Tamama, right?
I do. I'm Tamama and Sergeant Frog.
Are you gonna dub the Sergeant Frog movies?
I haven't heard anything about it. I hope we do, because I really miss that character. I haven't worked on that show in a while, but I really don't know. That's another thing you can ask at the Funimation panel. Yes.
I'll ask some more appropriate questions this time.
Okay.
Can you sign my hand?
I can. I don't want to open this to signing, but I'm going straight back to my autograph panel right after this in the dealer's room, so just meet me there.
Okay, I'll ask you the better question.
Okay.
Are you guys doing the next movie like it, the live action one?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of. Yes.
You know just about her. Were you kind of excited to get to work on a comic song?
Oh, to work on Okami-san? Yeah, that was just announced. I'm in Okami-san, and it was, I think it's a really cool concept for the show. It's kind of like based on fairy tales-ish. But it's really fun, and I think Lucy Christian sounds amazing in it. I am possibly her biggest fan.
I love her.
Luigi.
Is there any part that you really wanted to play but then never got it?
You know, I get that question a lot. If there's any part that I wanted to play but didn't get it. As an actor, that just happens all the time.
Yep.
And you kind of have to get used to it, so you have to go into every audition not thinking, I want to get this part, I have to get this part, but just kind of like, yay, I get to act today. Whether or not I get to continue acting in this role is, you know, up for debate, but yay, I get to act today. So that's how I try to go into every audition now. It's much healthier on your ego that way, otherwise you'll be upset a lot. Yeah. My favorite character to voice? It's really hard to choose. I have a lot of favorites, but for a lot of different reasons. Two of my most favorite characters are for sentimental reasons. One is Maho and Beck, because she was the first lead character that I got, and she sang, and but she has a lot of parallels in her life that remind me a lot of what my childhood was like. So it was just really cool to explore that and to be able to play that character. And then Natsuki in Summer Wars is another really sentimental one for me, because as you guys know, if you've watched the film, she has a really close relationship with her grandmother, and I had a very close relationship with my grandmother, and she passed away about 3 years ago, and so I dedicated my whole performance to her, and so it was a really kind of emotional, cathartic experience for me, so that one will always remain at the top. And then I also love Tamama because he's fun, and I love Ciel because he's such a rich, layered character. There's so much going on, and I love Holo because she's also a very layered character, but in a totally different way, and Juliet and Romeo and Juliet. Those are probably my top faves. You.
Can you say line in your Georgie's voice?
Georgie. I'm Georgie Prescott the third, ma'am. Vote Palin. Other questions? You.
Sometimes you guys like to have you ever pulled a prank on someone?
So glad you asked that. So the question was, she hears that we pull a lot of pranks on each other, and have I ever done such a thing? And the answer to that question is yes, I've pulled some pretty epic pranks. One of them has been going on for over a year now, but I can't actually talk about it because I want it to continue going. And then the two most epic ones that I have done were both on Michael Tatum, who plays Sebastian in Black Butler, and Lawrence in Spice and Wolf, and we get paired together a lot. But my brother and I, my brother works at Foundation, he's one of the head audio engineer guys, and
it was so cool.
We were close to Tatum's house, but couldn't remember how to get there. We wanted to just stop by and say hello, because we live about 45 minutes away from each other. It's rare that we get to hang out, so I was like, oh, we're in his neighborhood, let's go see him. And so I call him, leave a message, let him know we're in the neighborhood, we'd like to hang out. He never called back, but right after I hang up, we found his house. So we get to his house, he's not there. My brother points out that the front window is open, that it's not locked. I mean, not wide open, it just wasn't locked. And I was like, well, I guess we have to break in. So we opened the window, crawled through the window, and rearranged his furniture, and took out a lot of his books and left them open and left little notes.
So mean.
And then started getting a little nervous if someone was going to call the cops, since two people just went through someone's front window in the middle of the evening. So we started to leave and started to drive away, and my brother was like, man, I really want to do more stuff. I was like, that's a great idea. So we went to 7-Eleven and bought ice cream and little mini cans of beer and put them in his refrigerator and wrote, like, I heart Tatum all over it. I put them in his refrigerator. And so we do that. We get home. Tatum calls me and says, hey, did you guys happen to stop by the house at all? And I was like, no, dude, remember? My message said that I couldn't remember where you lived. We just went home. He was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's just really weird. I think somebody broke into the house, and I don't know who it is, and I feel like maybe it's a prank, but I'm not sure. And I was like, oh man, that's so weird. That's so creepy. Yeah, not me, sorry, good luck with that. And get off the phone. I fully intend to call him back in like 10 minutes, just let him sweat it out for 10 minutes. But I was watching TV, and I forgot. And so an hour later,
Oh my god.
I call him, like, oh shit, I should call Tatum and let him know that it was me. I call him. Within this hour, he had called the police and filed a police report, gotten in a fight with his significant other about, he said that he was the one that left the door closed and that it's not his fault, and got in a pretty massive fight, and then had called every single person in his phone to try and figure out who it could possibly be. So I call him, and he tells me all, well, before he tells me all of this, I start the conversation with, oh my god, did they leave ice cream and beer in your fridge? Yeah, they did. Dude, I think they came to my house too. And he starts freaking out, and at this point I just can't hold it anymore, so I start laughing at him, and I'm like, dude, that was me the whole time! And so, since then, he had vowed to get me back. So at Anime Central, it was pretty well known that he was going to try to prank me at Anime Central, because it was our first convention together ever. So, naturally, I pulled a preemptive strike. And he's terrified of clowns. And one of my favorite things to do is sing Send in the Clowns to him, the Stephen Sondheim song, Send in the Clowns. And so I rewrote all of the lyrics to be about him and about how the clowns were everywhere, and that when I wrote into his house, I actually brought clowns with me, and they're still there, and they're going to steal his mind and make him one of them. And so I do this at opening ceremonies, whenever they're introducing everybody, in front of like 700 people or something. I don't know how many people go to opening ceremonies for Anime Central. It might be more than that, I'm not sure. And so it was just this huge crowd of people. It's all over YouTube. You could totally, I think it's, if you just Google Anime Central opening ceremonies 2010, you'll probably find it. And so his prank on me totally flopped because he had made these posters of like, it's actually quite clever. He had made these posters, it was a picture of a sloth that said that it was my pet sloth named Beck.